tired of TV.
They are
catastrophes. Watch TV so long.
Is,
I'm like, yo, y'all not talking about this shit. Do you hear what people talking about everywhere else?
This is a catastrophic earthquake that happened, and people were seeing amazing green lights while the earthquake is happening.
That's that harp.
What is the
what?
Exactly.
And that's why
I think they did that with Irma too.
They
strengthened it, putting chemicals in it.
Y'all laughing, right? And I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying, yo, they just admitted that they got lasers to direct storms. They said that they did that in freaking Vietnam. I mean, we talk about this all the time, different times.
The moment you realize you thought you knew news.
Yo, people don't really know. They be thinking, oh, this and that. Like, no, this real shit. But think about it. For the moment this storm just broke down was right after they approved the $10 million to the UN. So I guess Trump wasn't trying to give these climate researchers, whatever, this money. All of a sudden, these storms came out of fucking nowhere.
It's a distraction.
And all of a sudden, once that came through, though, all of a sudden, this storm just break apart. It went from a 5, a 4, and right when it hit, like, how you go from Cuba, hit water, when you think it's going to be, like, even stronger. At Cuba, it was, like, 4, almost 5 at Cuba. So it hit water, which you thought it was going to stay at 4 or 5 if water is where it's going to get its energy, right? And all of a sudden, it broke down to a 3. It broke to a 2 and a 1.
It was
I'm
a little concentrated and controlled
so
feeling.
many people. People still got no lights and whatnot.
That's the power of prayer, my friend.
That's what I'm gonna say.
The power of prayer.
Because so many people are like.
So many people. Yeah, definitely. Many people.
I think government controlled, like, no.
Listen, girl. So many people were expecting.
I say the government started it.
We're expecting the largest hurricane to ever hit.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
And definitely a lot of people, they start evacuating and getting out of there.
I've never seen that.
This was the largest evacuation in Florida history.
I've never seen anything like it. I went to the gas station and people start fighting over the gasoline. I was like, I'm sorry.
No water anywhere?
Nah, you know what's
no water. People are pushing each other in the stores.
No weed.
If that was just for one state, imagine if everything happened and every 50, like all 50 states.
But there was an outage of weed, too, because the dispensaries got closed.
Boom.
Oh, my gosh. Yo,
and I went
got
to go
some
get
violin
my order
music.
of weed.
Yo, somebody, we need a violinist. If there's a violinist
Can you
out
please
there.
cry with me? Because it's really important.
Okay. Did any of you guys evacuate?
This
Who
this
is where I evacuated.
But you guys still stayed here.
Yeah.
You ever see those people that say 305 till I die or 727 till I die?
Yeah, and they
Where
get
did
washed
you guys
away.
go?
Yeah, seriously, right? Like, I was in the building. I was on the 45th floor. You know, like, scared as shit. Literally, look at my jaws. Nah, but seriously, I saw that shit in Miami. I'm like, man, we walked down those streets. Like, if I was in those streets, my little ass, I'd be a fucking, yo, I would have been in the Everglades by the time they found me, and it would have been too late.
Miami got flooded very hard.
Said, like,
and the storm was 100 miles away from it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was,
These are just the bands hitting it.
And that's the part that got me. It's
there
like,
were tornadoes,
they were
too.
saying, like, oh, it's going to Miami.
There were dinosaurs,
That's
too.
It, it's
Yeah. Fun
and
fact,
you didn't hear nothing about it.
Yeah, and
you just saw a flood.
One of my girlfriend's houses, actually, there was a tornado.
Oh,
that
man.
actually that was in the parking lot. There's footage.
Yeah.
I can see if I can try to get
Oh,
that
my
footage.
goodness. Yeah.
But there's footage.
Post
One
it
of
on
her
the
neighbors
book section
filmed
page.
it.
Oh
It's
my! You
crazy.
see, you guys got to see this. You don't want to watch some destruction. I mean, you want to see some horrible videos.
Massive destruction. It's mass distraction.
Yeah.
Like, that's what people don't understand is that people, like, again,
that's why,
let me give you another example.
Shit.
You ready for some throwback shit? Here we go.
Here we go.
Whenever they were talking about the transgender bathrooms, whenever that was going down, this is what was happening in Florida. There were 3 major nuclear power plants that were actually leaking into our water supply in the Everglades.
Oh, yeah.
And so what was happening is everybody's fighting over, I don't know, what divides us because we're all stupid enough to think that it's all about us.
I want to have a
and
penis
there were 3
and a vagina.
Yeah, well, that I'm not talking about that love. I think we should accept and love those people. I'm not.
I don't care about that though.
Okay,
but
I'm
definitely about what they were arguing about. You know? That's what they're arguing about.
Right, that's what they're. Yeah, exactly. So like whenever they're fighting about that stuff, I think this is what we really needed to be focusing on was simply because that issue. That I think that everyone should love, accept, and care about each other. It doesn't matter what color, what race, because racism doesn't even exist because we're all one human race. But regardless, 3 nuclear plants. They're still leaking. Do you know that we have almost as much nuclear radiation as Fukushima? Remember that? Remember that hurricane? Remember how that was super bad?
No,
that's what's been happening in Florida this whole time.
Yeah. I'm just pretty much done with seafood out here too.
Yeah, no.
And you know
sushi.
that's the thing about it. It's like they don't talk about it because they know the moment they talk about it, they gotta do something about it, and people gonna start leaving, and that affects the money.
Of course, because we're all just generating. We're literally like on a poor scale. Yes.
That's why no one's talking about stuff like that.
That's why I can't watch the media. The news.
That's why we did this shit. Like
all the news, I'm like, I always see what they're saying, and I'm like, wow, like. Can you be more shallow?
It's a joke.
Talking about Kim Kardashian's underwear.
It's an insult to people's intelligence. And I was just not saying kidding. Like I don't want my kids to be on the smartphones because when I was that age, I was out playing. I was getting to know my neighbors and this and that. Like some of those people, I know them now. They're adults, and I could ask them for a favor, and I'm good. But who are these kids gonna ask a favor from? Because if all your friends are online, and let's say the power goes out, like, hey, what's going on to some people right now? Who are you gonna rely on? You don't talk to your neighbors. Either your kids don't know you because they know fucking the phones all day. So it's like no one really has any real communication with people. So people are like, oh, you're acting all old school and shit. Fuck that. I want to know if my neighbor's a doctor. I want to know if he's a hunter.
That's
he's a
true.
this. Because when the power goes out, that's probably the person you need to help you.
Exactly.
Because when the 90% of your neighborhood, or let's just say, all right, I'm being nice, 98% of your neighborhood is all thinking about themselves, that 2% is just enough to help you survive. So it's like when people start showing you shit, and they always tell you all the time, these people that's running things, they always program it by telling you what it is. That way, it won't be like, oh, you know, we was hiding this. Nah. They'll tell you through the programming, through the television, the Walking Dead. Why you think that shit is so popular? The Game of Thrones, why is it so popular? You know, when they tell you about the intersection of marriages and this and that and blah, 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 or the family, that's what they do out in England. All them people, they're cousins. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they do all the time. They're not trying to have an outsider come inside and break the lineage. We're royal. These people really think they came from Jesus' line. Like that Princess Diana, when she peeped that it wasn't going her way, why you think they X'd her out? The same deal with Prince Harry. Why you think he wanted to be all out and about? I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I would want to be out and about and try to live like a regular man, but you can't run away from that. And the moment they talk about that, it's a wrap. So what they got to do, they hide it. They hide it in movies. They hide it in TV and this and that. So it is entertainment, but where they get that theme from? It's not new under the sun.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is right. Like, don't watch the shit because then you bring your. Because now if you're reading books, if you're reading things from somebody that actually took time to research and say, you know what, all this information I got, it has to go somewhere. People need to know that. And a fucking movie can only do so much. But a book, oh my God, you could really research what somebody's talking about. You could really see the sources and cite them and do it yourself. But when you take that skill away, when nobody in the class or whatever is doing that book report and researching and shit like that, you don't give a shit about nobody because you can't even do that for a perfect stranger to learn something about him. Who you going like?
Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, my friend.
No one talk about that.
But that's why
I mentioned that shit.
Yeah, and see, that's exactly why whenever we're talking about the classes and how they're quote unquote separated, number one, class is just a construct created by people who want to keep poor people separated from the rich because that way that it's easily controlled. Okay, because
exactly.
People
they want a generation of workers.
Yes, they want to
because there can only be a few people at the top.
Huh.
You know?
Yeah.
1%.
That's why they want everybody to be stuck on social media and distracted from their own goals.
Yes, exactly.
You seen the movie WALL-E?
Yes.
I love that movie. I seen it one time, and I was saying I'm gonna buy that movie. I think we owned it. I don't even know what the fuck. I don't even know. Either way, I'm gonna buy the shit. But
Are we
anyway,
gonna have to take a break? I'm
WALL-E,
so sad to say that.
Nah, check this. But you see in WALL-E, cute movie, great movie, but it has some of the deepest fucking messages in that movie, and I didn't realize it till I finished it all the way to the end.
Right.
And when you notice at the end, you're rooting for a robot. You realize when you see the humans, people, they depend on the robots. So we're rooting the whole time for the robot to succeed and find his love and this and that and whatnot. In the meantime, what they're showing you is through this conflict of robots, humans are nowhere to be found. And when you do find humans, what are we doing? We're sitting down. We're getting big, unhealthy. We're dependent on them. We're watching TV. Look what's going on that they're feeding kids now. What used to cost $100, $1,000 when we were younger, now you can get it at Walmart, virtual glasses. Mm-hmm. So now kids don't have to walk around and observe things for themselves.
Yeah, they
this
can be
is
taught
like
what
the
to
program
see.
society that we have. So like you being a writer and you doing, you know, streaming, what we do,
well,
just this
actually,
platform.
I haven't mentioned it either, but I'm also an author, and I'm currently writing a children's book of one of many. But
Well, there you go.
Oh, you never told me,
Well,
girl.
You never told me either.
And that was brought here exclusive world premiere.
my whole family, we're all
Hey, wait,
writers.
I'm writer
Everyone in my
too.
family has published books.
Wow.
There you
no
go.
way.
You see, there you go, writers in the
I'm
building.
unpublished though.
Yeah, and you see, and it feels good to hone that. You know, like when people be like, "All right, you're a rapper or you're a writer." I'm a writer. I'm a
could be
songwriter.
both.
Yeah, you know.
Why
like,
not be both? In
do
this
it all.
world, we can
Poetry.
do
That's what
whatever
we
we
do.
want to
Yeah,
do.
it's
Why
fun.
limit yourself?
Yeah,
And the
why do
thing
we
about
limit
it-
ourselves?
It's basically
Exactly.
poetry with music.
What
That's
you
all.
do?
I don't limit myself.
Nah, you gotta go
I
all
do
go.
whatever because
Yeah.
it makes me happy. It makes me enjoy life.
Exactly.
Why not sing? Why not write? Why not make
Yeah.
movies?
And
Yeah,
why do we and why do
exactly.
we envy that so much too? Because like I want to bring it to a really real point right now. People that are successful, and even if you're just a little bit of attractive, okay, right? There's so much jealousy and contention because people are taught that if someone else has it, you can't have it. But the truth is that we can all have it. There's no reason why one person has to be miserable and one person can be happy. We're taught that there has to be that flux. The truth is we can all be freaking happy. Who taught us that we have to be miserable? Think about it.
If we would
Where does
just
that come
support
from?
each other and motivate each other, everybody would be on a higher level.
Teamwork. Boom.
Yeah.
Self-actualization in the hierarchy of needs by Maslow's law. Exactly.
That's why it's always good to surround yourself with people who have the same motivation as you, same goals as you. Because if you think about it, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Exactly. You get
You know?
shaped by those people.
Yeah.
You get shaped, you get
Yeah.
either built up or drained by these people that you surround yourself with.
Yep.
Yes, and who you allow to speak truth into your life, because those people, even later, become the voices
Preach message.
that become the voices in your head later on in your life. If you listen to that parent who told you that you were fat and ugly and imperfect, that's the voice that you hear later. And you know what happens? We think that everything's derived from childhood, but the truth is we're consistently making memories, and we decide who
Alfie,
we
don't cry,
listen
man.
to, and also we decide who we are going to think about whenever we go to think of a thought. It can happen right now. It doesn't necessarily even have to be embedded. It could be the guy that you met yesterday and he said something negative to you, and so now you believe it about yourself. And even if it's a moment, what happens is we have a thought. That thought becomes a word. That word becomes an action, and an action becomes your destiny because it's your habit, and that's what you're going to
Preach,
return
girl,
to.
preach.
So make sure that you surround yourself with positive influences who are there to support you, because people are going to try to break you down and try to make you feel like you are nothing, but that is not the case.
Even
because everyone
friends,
is
too.
beautiful.
Even
Yes.
some friends. I call them frenemies.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because-
And
Yeah.
It's
oh,
because
God,
scumbag
yes.
Yo.
for me.
Talk to us
And
about
on
that.
that
Joe.
note, because I want to keep people happy now, because like I'm trying to man up, but damn, that shit was deep. I'm good.
We're mermaids. We know how to swim deep.
Yeah.
You really
the
do,
negativity
man.
out.
Hey, listen. You seen the movie The Abyss? No, all right, let me stop.
I did.
Because listen, yo, for real, I really thought that existed. When I saw it in the bottom, and for y'all that don't know, it's a movie in the 80s, back in the day, the shit's the bomb. Anyway, at the end of this movie, it was crazy because like the world's about to come to an end. There's big waves and everything. But anyway, you mentioned the deep. So in the deep in this movie, like one of the characters, he like gets knocked out this submarine or some shit underneath in the water, but he falls like so deep that it's crazy. But when he falls and think he gonna die, there's like a little water alien or whatever it is comes to him and leads into this other location. It looks like a freaking land of alien something, but it was awesome. And I thought it was dope because it made me wonder, somebody that had that idea, where would they think of an idea like that? And the water is everywhere on Earth. Like, besides mermaids, I would think, like, what do you think you would see? Like, what's the, besides a mermaid, what would be something that, I mean,
To see
even if it's
underwater?
like, even if it's from far away, because I want to see some shit, but I want to be, like, a distance. Like, I want to have a drone that goes deep underwater. I'm a bitch. Like, I stay above
Well, you know
the
what?
water.
I think if we go deep enough, listen, I think that it's very possible that our society is actually controlled by the things that live in the deep, and that they pump chemicals into
UFOs,
the
like
earth.
reptiles. I'm just
Think
saying.
about it. They could pump. What if? Because listen, these are thousands and thousands of year old creatures that have been able to thrive without the deactivation of mankind. And hurricanes, where do they start? In the water and through the air, right? So think about it. If we had a bunch of water creatures who were way smarter than us, who are thousands and maybe billions and maybe millions, whatever, of years older than us, you are literally not hacking into a large percentage of the world. What if we are just simply the parasitic, topper to the earth? and there are these creatures that are actually, there's just so many different thoughts that we could like.
I think we're from freaking. I like that, and I think I'm gonna throw some more shit.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Pan's sperm. Like basically, it's a freaking rock that came from space, and it had all these freaking things on it, and it came through, landed on Earth, and then from that, things got mixed up in all these science words and big, words and vocabularies, and before you know it, bye.